Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be reviewing Unfaithful, which is hosted by Tami Roman. And as you guys know, I am a certified relationship coach. So this is definitely intriguing to me and something that I really kind of wanted to go ahead and review and see if you guys like this show as well. So let's go ahead and talk about this episode, because the episode was spicy, y'all. So we have Naima and David. So she said that he started acting different now, and the reason why she's with him, or she was with him in the beginning, is because she liked his style. He's a very cocky person, and he literally wears a crown everywhere that he goes because he says that he's a king. So, I mean, talk about taking it to the next level. Like, you know, we big up our black people. We tell them, yo, especially young black boys, we tell them, yo, you are a king, you know, and you should always remember that. Don't let anybody treat you less than. But I mean, homie done took it to the whole nother level. Like, dang, you know? So yeah, she said he wears it like even when they going at it, like even when they having the good, you know, the sex or whatever, he's still wearing his crown. So I'm like, nah, it couldn't be me. Like, I mean, I don't mind quirkiness, I don't mind weirdness, I don't mind different, but like that's on another level. Like, now you're doing too much. Like, I don't like people that think they're better than others. I don't like people that think that I have to give you more respect than I deserve, or that you are going to give me. You know what I mean? So yeah, so Tami was like, yeah, I have to see if you actually his queen or if you're one of the court jesters, because that's a whole lot right there. She mentioned that they met on a dating site, and after 3 weeks he ends up tattooing her name on his arm, like official. I'm like, yo, that's a little crazy. And then she said that after 2 weeks she had actually let him meet her son. So Tammy's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's getting your child invested into something. Like, I know some people, like, there's different opinions between this type of thing as far as like introducing your kids to your significant other. I believe that somebody, I don't know if it was Steve Harvey, I kind of want to say it's him, but don't quote me on that. He had said like he prefers, like, or he feels like introductions are deserved early on in the relationship, because, you know, if they don't like your kids, then that's a big part of your life, you know, or vice versa if the kids don't like this person. So for me, I see that point, but I still wouldn't want them to be introduced too early either, because I want to make sure that this is actually somebody I can actually see myself with for a while or for the long run before I go introducing my kid to them. Because then it's like, you introduce them to this person, they don't work out, then it's the next person a couple months down the road, then another one down the road. Like, you know, like, I don't want to keep on making them think like, you know, like my mom is a Rolling Stone, you know, like just all over the place. So that's my thought process on it. And I feel like that's kind of what Tami was kind of inferring as well. So after, I think it was 3 months together, then they actually moved in together with her son and everything. He has 2 kids, but I'm assuming that they're grown or they live with the mom, because that was the only moment that I heard that she actually mentioned anything about him having, you know, kids. So he has a son and a daughter. So from what she said, they're kind of like not together because they didn't break up, but they're not living together because they kept on having arguments, differences, and things of that nature. But they still communicate. They still go on vacations together. He still, I guess, texts her son to talk to him, like, but even though the relationship is not the same, which she did mention later on. And, you know, she feels like it's weird because he doesn't really let her come over anymore, or he doesn't let her come over to his place. And he also took her name off of, like, from the concierge list. So, you know, it's like, those is like some big red flags. Like, what's up? So the final thing, or the final piece of evidence that she had that makes her suspicious, which, I mean, that seemed like a eye-opener to me. Like, hello, you dancing in the red flags, is the fact that she showed Tami that a video of that he put somewhere, I don't know where, but of a woman twerking in his house, and it wasn't her. You know what I'm saying? Like, this woman was twerking and she was wearing her coat. So yeah, if that doesn't scream weird and disrespectful, like, yeah, something ain't right. So now we have the private investigator, Brienne. She goes ahead, she does her work. She was able to see or set up surveillance at David's house. And the first weird thing that they noticed with that was that there was like a blonde lady who came out with him. Well, a blonde Barbie, I should say, or black Barbie. She pretty much had, she was black, but she had the long blonde hair. And yeah, they end up going to, first she kind of lost trail on her because there was a red light, but the next day they ended up going to like a furniture store, and they was like looking at some stuff. And the cool thing about it, it's like every episode I'm learning about like a new private eye spy type of camera. They had this cool, it looked like a key fob type of camera that she was able to connect to her phone and see exactly what she's recording. And it also records audio as well. So cool. I also found it just because I'm a curious little bumblebee. They had quite a few on Amazon, but I'll link one that I actually saw in case if anybody's out here doing your own little investigation. I'm not going to say you should, that wouldn't be professional advice, but if you just so happen to and you want to use my link in the description area, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, so she had this cute little key fob and was able to hear everything that was going on. So yeah, ironically enough, we find out now after the whole meeting with where Tami meets up with Naima again to kind of tell her what's up, that this chick, the black Barbie, who ironically enough looks just like or similar to her, they both had black hair, they both had blonde hair, black skin, fair skin. So yeah, they were both very similar, big booties, probably about the same height, nice, plump and voluptuous. So he definitely has a type, it's like a lot of people will say like, I don't have a type, but then when you look down their history, it's like, yeah, you kind of do, So anyway, back to what I was saying now, they find out that her name is, I'm probably going to butcher the name, Azria, I believe it was. And she literally, once she was seeing everything, she got to hear the conversation from the furniture store and hear how they sound like they're buying furniture together for the place that he lives in, which I guess they live in, it sounds like from what they're saying. And she's just like, this really hurt her feelings because now she's realizing that it's kind of like she got replaced. And it does seem like she got replaced by somebody who seems to be more fun than she is. Because this girl is just like, laughing, having a good time. Just seems so like exciting and things like that. And from the pattern that we've seen so far from the first episode and this episode, it seems like that's what tends to happen, is that the guy, he like kind of replaces the one that's kind of stable or maybe a little annoying or, just who wants something real for the one where he can have fun, excitement, just peace, and not have to worry about the day-to-day struggles of life, It's like, all right, we on vacation every day because she's just a ball of fun. So yeah. And what else happened after that? So yeah, she was saying when they asked her about him, or when Kevin meets with her, because Kevin was part of this, the relationship expert, he says that this guy seems like he has more of like a king complex and he seems to be somewhat of a narcissist. So I mean, it definitely, I can't tell based upon solely these things. I haven't heard about the king complex, but once I seen what it said on the side of the screen, it does seem very similar. I've met somebody who has ODD and also someone who has, which is oppositional defiant disorder, as well as somebody who has the God complex, which is very similar, almost very similar if you look up the definitions of both. But as far as the king complex, I don't know if it seems like they would be pretty similar because all of them feel like they're above others and no one can kind of tell them what to do. It's like, who do you think you are? Like, I do what I want when I want to do it and you can never tell me otherwise. And you're pretty much beneath me at the end of the day. So yeah. And Naima, she says that she still wants to fight for the relationship because she's invested into it. She has her son in this. you know, and she's started to build a life with this man. I feel more so, based upon the things that she was saying, is that she more so has fear of kind of moving forward and out of her comfort zone, which is where she's been at with him, you know. And that's what happens a lot of times in these types of relationships. She said that, Kevin said that it seems like this man, he doesn't really care as much as she does about holding on to the relationship or the family that she's claiming to have. So she said she didn't want to meet up with the chick because, you know, you get two options: either meet up with the chick and try to take him down together, or you can go ahead and just ambush both of them together and none of them will know. So she opted to do the latter, to just go ahead and do what she got to do on her own. So they found out where he was at. He was at a boutique. And before they went ahead and did that, Kevin had brought up a good question when they were having a sit down in the car or whatever. And he had said, you know, do you love him more than you love your child? And obviously anybody in their right mind would say no. And do you love him more than you love yourself? Because that's kind of where you have to look at it right now, because sometimes people don't even realize it, but they're putting so much into these relationships and they're giving and giving and giving. The other person's taking, and just taking advantage of the fact that they're just able to receive, and they feel like this person will never ever go anywhere, and they're losing themselves in the process. So I think that's what he was trying to kind of open her eyes up to. So now we go to this little boutique thing, honey, where they sell lingerie and stuff. The girl is in there. They already set up the cameras. So the girl is in there. She giving him a little, you know, dance and stuff. She doing it, honey. She bust out her boobs. Like, she was having a good time with this man. I mean, she was just having fun, shaking and baking, honey. She was being his little personal stripper. So I see why he likes it, you know. I mean, it's fun, it's exciting, it gives you that dopamine rush, that adrenaline rush as well. Now Naima, she walked up in there, you know, she came like, yo, what is this? And he looked like he was so shocked, he didn't even know what to say when he was confronted by her. And Azraya, I'm saying it wrong, I know y'all. I think it's Azraya. She was saying that she didn't know anything about the fact that he was still talking to Naima, or still in a quote-unquote relationship with her. So she said that she was living with him for like actually a few months. So that's the reason why he cut Naima off from going to the house, is because she was legit living with him. Like, so it's crazy how they've only been talking for a couple months. So it's like he moves real quick. He has no stop. It's like, no, she got to do what I say, and she got to kind of follow my lead, you know? I mean, you want a strong man, but you don't want somebody that's going to rule you either. Somebody who's going to take control of everything and just, you got to follow along. I mean, at least not for me personally. Some people, that's how their dynamic is, and I won't knock it, but you have to also put yourself into the relationship as well. You can't just completely lose yourself in order to do what somebody else wants. So Azraya, she was pretty much not with it. She was like totally blown away by the situation. And Naima did something that I found that was kind of odd. She went down on her knees at one point, or I don't know if she either stooped down or she went down on her knees. They kind of moved pretty quickly, but she was trying to ask him, like, have you been living with her? And because he was sitting in the chair with his little hat on, so Tami was like, you don't need to get down to his level for that. She was like, and I was so proud of Tami for doing that and bringing this sister back up and getting herself together, because it's like, what are you doing? You're pretty much like bowing down to this man like he's your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Like, what are you doing? You know, and when Tami told her, like, no, baby girl, you don't have to do that. He's like, oh no, she's just showing respect. Respect? After you done made her a whole jester out here in these streets, you want her to give you respect by going down to ask you a question? Are you crazy? Nah, homie was like, that whole part, I don't know if everybody caught that, but that was like real weird to me. And that was like, it kind of was showing me the dynamic of their relationship just by looking at that little bit. Because if she felt like she needed to do that, and he's like, no, she's doing this in order to show me respect, he felt like she needed to do this. So in no way, sense, shape, or form was that okay. So following that, he said that Azria was filling a void that he needed, and which is usually what it's all about, right? Isn't that usually what cheating is about? It's usually, I want this, but I also want this, and I don't want to let this go because somebody else might grab it up. But if I let this one go, then I'm gonna be stuck with this one who kind of gets on my nerves sometimes. So if I could just put them both together, like, this would be the perfect woman, the perfect relationship, So it's like, I guess that's why they have the whole sister wives situation for these guys. But I don't see any man being that special or deserving of that type of situation, Maybe for a short amount of time, if somebody's being like, a number two and doesn't really want all the extra responsibilities that comes with having to deal with a man, like, what, go home and go deal with that, then I see. But in the long run, I just see those as being complicated, unless everybody's, in it and okay with it. I be watching Sister Wives too, that show, but I haven't really been able, I have so much going on, I haven't been able to keep up with it. But anyway, so he says that when they had like another little sit down, kind of just them, he had mentioned that she gets really disrespectful and she says things and kind of demeans him and comes for his character and comes for his manhood. And he's like, the only way when that happens to move forward is to remove himself. Because if it's a guy, it's like, I know how to handle a dude, but when it's a female, the only thing I can do is remove myself. And Kevin agreed with him because he's like, he's been in a situation like that where that's all you can do. And I feel like a lot of women, that's what they do, you know what I'm saying? And they don't even realize, like, you're tearing this man down. I'm not going to go riz him up, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to big him up or nothing. I'm not giving him no high fives. But with that particular statement that he made, I can see where he's coming from, because this is something that a lot of women in modern dating tend to do. They tend to tear these men down, call them boys. If they're not doing the extra masculine and doing what they believe a man should do, then they tear them down and just make them depressed and things like that. And then they get worse and worse. And then when they don't want to be with them anymore, they wonder why. It's because of the way that you're talking to them. You're talking to them like they're worthless and you don't really need them. So they're like, you know what? Or some of them, they not brave enough because they feel like boys after you done call them this all the time, that they're like, you know what? I'm going to go do what a boy would do and go into another relationship, So, I mean, and that's what Tami said, like, you got to take accountability for yourself too, because you left this part out of everything that you told me. You never mentioned this part. So now the truth is really coming out. So when they did all that, they eventually had Azria come back out so that they can kind of like wrap things up. And he said in front of both of them pretty much that Azria, she's his comfort, his peace. He would rather be with both of them if he could, and everybody's looking at him like, come on, bro, like, we not doing this. This is not that type of show. What do you want to do? Who do you want to be with? So he finally says that Naima is his queen. Naima is the person that he wants to be with. Of course, Azria, after she started to build a life with him, probably moved everything into his house. They over here buying furniture, spending up money and stuff like that. It's like now the rug kind of got pulled from up underneath her. So now she has to kind of go back to wherever she came from. And so she's upset about it. So she was like, and Naima, without anything, like, I don't know, she just decided, okay, I'm going to go back with him. But I don't know. I just felt like when she said that, I kind of felt like, dang, like, girl, you could do so much better Because at the end of the day, the only reason why he stopped, and that's the thing that I tend to hate about cheating, is like a lot of times the only reason why they stop, unless they're really and truly in love with that person, the only reason why they stop and they come back to you is because they got caught. You know, it's no aha moment that was in their head that said, you know what, I'm ruining my chances of building a life with this person, let me just chill. No. 85% or more of the time, it's like they got caught. So now it's like, oh, I'm coming back to you, baby. You know, don't leave me. You're my queen. You're my everything. So 3 months later, you know, they did a little updates or whatever. And she pretty much is like, she said that she has a new look. She had a new attitude. She had black hair now. So she was looking a little, you know, regular deg look. You know, she was pretty or whatever. But she said that they ended up moving on, parting ways, because she couldn't trust him after all the things that took place. And she learned a lot of things. She learned that she has to kind of like move differently as a parent, and everything that she did, you know, she, in hindsight now, she realizes how quickly she moves, and that she has to protect her son and not just herself, you know, protect him and what she exposes him to and who she allows to be a part of his life. And at the end of the day, these kids, they're learning what they see. So if this is your future stepdad and you see that he's treating your mom badly, you see this as a toxic relationship, this is how they're learning in their mind, like, okay, a lot of times, even without trying, this is what becomes of them. And then these patterns, they consist with the next relationship, the next generation. It's like a nasty little cycle that tends to never stop or never end. So I'm happy that she was able to realize this. And I'm pretty sure this other chick just probably was like, you know what, let me bring my stuff back. I gotta take my king. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure she came back because she looked like she was down for, you know, down for the cause. And she said, she did reveal, like, just talking about Azria in a part that I just remember, she did say that he spoke about her, but he said that he was done with her. So she was under the impression that, you know, it was just nothing happening anymore. Unfortunately, he lied to both of them. So it was like they was all trying to fight and stuff at some points, but it was like, you guys are fighting each other, but at the end of the day, and that's another thing, like, these chicks be fighting each other, going back and forth with each other, but at the end of the day, it's one common denominator, and that's the person who agreed to be in a relationship with both of y'all, you know? So that's the person y'all need to target, not each other, because at the end of the day, y'all didn't know each other. Now, if y'all talking crazy to each other, that's kind of different, but that shouldn't even be happening, you know? Y'all should be like, yo, like, I feel bad for you, girl, let's go ahead and do this, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't tend to happen that way because people don't feel like they owe loyalty to somebody who they don't know. Plain and simple, or they're in competition with, especially if y'all both still have feelings for him and fighting for his love and affection. But that's it, y'all. I will see you guys on the next one. Make sure you comment, you subscribe, make sure you share. And if I see y'all keep on watching, we're gonna keep on doing this. So maybe I'll move it over to my other channel if y'all not watching. But I like this show, so I'm gonna keep on reviewing it. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.